Hammaga salom. Bugun siz bilan biz 5-darsimizni boshlaymiz. Bugungi darsimizda biz reading va speaking bosqichlariga urg'u beramiz. Demak, tayyormisiz? Boshladik. So, as we had in our first lesson, in today's lesson, we are also going to read together, and then we are going to do what? Of course, we are going to retell so that we can make sure that we have understood the text. Har doimgidek biz tekstni birgalikda o'qiymiz. Birgalikda degani bu siz va men bir vaqtda o'qishimiz kerak va o'qib bo'lgach biz nima tushunganimizni gapirib berishimiz kerak. So let's start reading our text. This is the famous story, Red Riding Hood. We have it in Russian, we have it in Uzbek, it's very popular. And in English also we have similar to it. And in English we also have similar to it. And while reading, please pay attention that we have got here past simple and past continuous. Past continuous that we have learned last lesson too. And we have here, while reading, please pay attention that we have got here past simple and past continuous. Past continuous we learned with you last lesson. I hope you remember, right? So let's get started. Red Riding Hood lived in the forest. Her father was a woodcutter. Woodcutter, it means the person who cuts the wood. Or daraxtni kesuvchi odam. So Red Riding Hood's mother every day he cut and chopped the wood in the forest. One morning, Red Riding Hood's mother said to her, "Here is a cake and a bottle of fruit juice. Take them to grandmother, but don't talk to anyone on the way." Red Riding Hood put on her red cloak with a hood and set off through the forest. The sun was shining and the birds were singing. So please pay attention. Here we have past continuous. Why past continuous we use here? Because here they give extra details to the text. So when we give something extra, not the main idea of the text, but something additional, then we use past continuous. Iltimos e'tibor qiling, bu yerda bizda past continuous ishlatilyapti. Nimaga? Chunki bu tekstga qo'shimcha fikr beradi. U hikoyani eng muhim qismini tasvirlab bermaydi, balkim qanaqadir qo'shimcha ma'lumot beradi. So, the forest was beautiful, and Red Riding Hood soon forgot her mother's words. She put down her basket and picked some pretty blue flowers. So all these we use in past simple. Why? Because as you remember, we had chain of actions. One action after another. One action after another action. Just then a wolf came along the path. He saw Red Riding Hood and he stopped beside her. "Good morning, my dear. Where are you going today?" he asked. "Oh, good morning," answered Red Riding Hood politely. Politely means opposite of rude, which is xushmuomala bilan opposite of rude. So I'm going to my grandmother's house. She lives all alone at the edge. Of the wood. I'm picking these flowers for her. So picking it means she is collecting the flowers. "You're a kind girl," said the wolf in a friendly voice. "Look, there are some yellow flowers over there." "Oh yeah," said the Riding Hood. "Thank you." So she believed in him. She trusted him that he trusted the wolf that he is a very kind and gentle person. So and then the wolf disappeared. Disappeared, it means opposite of appear, or it means yo'qolib qoldi. Into the forest, and Red Riding Hood picked an enormous bunch of flowers. Enormous. This is very, very, very big. At last, she came to her grandmother's home. At last, it means finally, eventually, ultimately. All of them are synonyms, and all of them mean vanihoyat. So she knocked on, it means knock. She knocked on the door and went in. The curtains were closed. And at first she could see nothing. So the curtains were closed, and at first she could see nothing. It was too dark. You remember if we learned with you 2 plus adjective, it means very much, of course. She felt a little scared. A little scared, it means a little bit afraid. But she was a brave girl. A brave, it means full of bravery or full of courage. The person who is never afraid of something. So brave, or in Uzbek it describes the person who is not, or in Uzbek it means qo'rqmas odamni, or in Uzbek qo'rqmas odamni tasvirlab beradi. So, and she did not run away. Run away, it means qochib ketdi. Then she saw grandmother sitting up in her bed. She was wearing her pretty pink shovel, and she had her big white nightcap on her head. But she looked very strange. Strange means not ordinary, not as usual, not adati, alright, unique. So what happened next? So as you can see, this is the wolf who is wearing the grandmother's clothes, as you know, according to the famous story. So Red Riding Hood said, "Oh, grandmother, you've got enormous ears." Enormous, what was it? Yes, of course, very big, huge. "So I can hear you with these ears," said the grandmother. Red Riding Hood said, "Oh, grandmother, you've got enormous eyes." "I can see you with these eyes," said the grandmother. Red Riding Hood said, "Oh, grandmother, you've got a huge nose." "I can smell you with this nose," said her grandmother, and her big nose twitched a little. Red Riding Hood said worriedly, it means Red Riding Hood said worriedly, "Oh, grandmother, you've got lots of big, shiny, white teeth." "I can eat you with these big, shiny, white teeth," roared her grandmother, and she leapt out of the bed. It was the wolf. So you see, if you read with intonation, it's getting more interesting for you as well to read it. So roar, it means when usually the wolf or the lion, they do like this, it means roar. And she leapt out, leap. It comes, so leapt out, it is the past form of leap, which means jumped. So leapt out o'zbek tilida u degani sakrab ketdi. Leap, bu leap so'zidan kelib chiqadi. Leap degani sakramoq. So it was the wolf. "Help!" screamed the Red Riding Hood. Scream, it means she spoke with a very loud voice. Suddenly, the door opened. To'satdan, the door opened, and her father stood in the doorway with his sharp, heavy axe. Axe, this is a big instrument that people use to cut the trees. So axe, it means a big instrument with the help of it. So axe is a big instrument with the help of which we cut trees, or o'zbek tilida bu bo'ladi bolg'a. So the wolf jumped out of the window and ran away. He wasn't brave at all. A sound came from the cupboard. They opened the door, and there was their grandmother. She was frightened. What does mean frightened? It means scared, afraid, qo'rqqan, but safe. She was frightened but safe. So frightened, it means afraid, scared. Also, all of them are synonyms. But safe. So it means she wasn't in danger. And they never saw the wolf again. So we have finished the reading. So we have finished reading the text together with intonation. You see, if you read with intonation, with screaming or crying, or in other ways, it makes you feel the text and it makes you understand the text more. So ko'rib turgansizki, biz siz bilan tekstni tugatdik va biz siz bilan har xil intonatsiya bilan o'qidik. Bir xil joylarda biz baqirdik, bir xil joylarda biz savolni qanaqadir boshqacha tanaffus bilan gapirdik. Bu juda ham muhim, chunki bu sizga tekstni ko'proq tushunishga yordam beradi. Endi siz nima qilishingiz kerak? Xohlasangiz yana bir marta o'qib chiqib, gapirib berishingiz shart. Men ham sizga yordam beraman. Men ham Shu tekstni hozir tushunganimcha gapirib berishga harakat qilaman. Let me start my retelling. So this is the text that I read first time, I think, when I was 5 or 6 years old. And at that time, I didn't really understand it, but now it's getting more clear to me. Because the moral of the story, I believe, is to stay focused on our goals or on some things that we plan. And not to talk to strangers and not to be concerned about the strangers. So the story started with the words of the mother to her little daughter that she has to go to her grandmother, and while on her way, she shouldn't talk with other people, with strangers. And also in the story it was told that the Red Riding Hood's father is a woodcutter, so he cuts the wood. So her mother gave the Red Riding Hood a big cake, very delicious, that she cooked, and then she put this cake into the basket, and then she went to her grandmother. On her way, she suddenly saw a wolf. But she thought that this wolf is a very kind person because he spoke with her very politely. And she also, this Red Riding Hood, spoke with him politely. Both of them became kind of friends. And the Red Riding Hood asked, and the wolf asked the Red Riding Hood, "Where are you going?" And Red Riding Hood explained everything, where is she going, why she is going, and every single detail she gave to this wolf. And the wolf took advantage of her words, and he suddenly disappeared. And one more thing to tell here is that the Red Riding Hood was not afraid at all from and one important thing to note here is that Red Riding Hood wasn't scared of wolf. She wasn't frightened of him. She was very much brave girl. So she finally came to her grandmother's home, and then she saw that the curtains were closed. And she got, and it was a bit, and so she saw that the curtains were closed, and also she saw her grandmother in the image of wolf, and she got a little bit confused. Confused, it means adashib ketdi. Why her grandmother was looking a bit strange. And she started asking questions from her kind of grandmother. Why have you got so big eyes? Why have you got so big nose? Why do you have such a big... and she started wondering, or she started asking a lot of questions from her grandmother. She started asking, why does her grandmother have such a big nose? And then the grandmother says that this helps her to smell her granddaughter. She asked, why does she have such a big eyes? The grandmother says that these eyes help her to see her granddaughter. And then she asked, why have you got such a big, shiny, sharp teeth? And then the wolf, in the image of her, and then the wolf roared, and he leapt out of the bed and jumped, and he leapt out of the bed and jumped to the Red Riding Hood. And then the wolf leapt out of the bed. Red Riding Hood got very much scared, and she screamed, help. And for her luck, fortunately, yaxshiyamki, the father was nearby, and he was standing there in the doorway. As you remember, he was the woodcutter, so he had with himself an axe, and he, with this sharp axe, wanted to kill this wolf. However, wolf wasn't as brave as Red Riding Hood, and he got very much and the wolf wasn't as much brave as Red Riding Hood, and he got very much frightened, terrified, and then he just ran away from the window. And in the cupboard, they heard some noise. There was sitting their grandmother. So she was very much frightened. So she was very much frightened there, but she was safe. So the wolf didn't touch her. After this event, they never saw the wolf again. So you see, I tried to retell the text using my own words, some vocabulary especially, and so as you see, as you heard right now, I have retold the text using both my vocabulary and especially the vocabulary from the text. Because if I use these words in my retelling, then it will be very much practical for me. Ko'rib turganingizdek, hikoyani aytib berishga harakat qildim. Va aytib bergan paytimda men o'zimni so'zlarimni ham va tekstdagi olingan so'zlarni ham ishlatishga harakat qildim. Nimaga biz tekstni gapirib beramiz? Tekstni gapirib berishimizdan birinchi sabab bu so'zlarni yodlab, tushunib va ularni amaliyotda ishlatish. Va ikkinchidan bu albatta speakingni rivojlantirish uchun. Shuning uchun biz gapirib berayotgan paytimizda yangi so'zlarni ishlatishimiz shart. Endi videoni to'xtatib, xohlasangiz yana bir marta men o'qib berganimni yoki o'zingiz o'qib berganingizni yoki men gapirib berganimni yana bir marta eshitib, o'zingiz gapirib berishga harakat qiling. Bu juda ham muhim. So now let's answer to the question. So here we have got, as you can see, exercise number 1. So the questions are taken from the text and we should answer to these questions. So the first question, what did Red Riding Hood take to her grandmother? So she took what? She took the cake. How did Red Riding Hood speak to the wolf? So how did she speak? She spoke very politely. Why didn't Red Riding Hood run away when she was scared? Third, why didn't Red Riding Hood run away when she was scared? She didn't run away because she was very brave. Fourth, what was grandmother wearing in bed? She was wearing her favorite pink shawl. Fifth, why was Red Riding Hood worried? Because the curtains were closed and everything. Fifth, why was Red Riding Hood worried? She was worried because her grandmother had very big, shiny, white teeth. Why did the wolf run away? Wolf ran away because he wasn't brave. And the last one, where was Red Riding Hood's grandmother? The Red Riding Hood's grandmother was sitting in the cupboard. Second exercise. Now we should answer to these questions, and you shouldn't give very short answers, but you should try to explain your answer. Ikkinchi mashqimizda bu savollarga biz javob berishimiz kerak va javob berayotganimizda biz qisqacha javob emas, balki uzun tushuntirib beradigan javob berishimiz kerak. So why did Red Riding Hood's mother say don't talk to anyone on the way? So what do you think? Why did she say so? So in my opinion, she said not to talk to anyone on her way because first of all, she might forget everything what her mother told. Second of all, we do not know what kind of intentions the strangers have. Maybe they want to steal something from us. Maybe they want to steal us, or maybe they want to kill us. We don't know what kind of intentions they have. Mening fikrimcha bu qizchani onasi kimdir bilan gaplashishdan taqiqladi, chunki biz odamlarning asl niyatlarini bilmaymiz. Balkim ular bizdan nimadir o'g'irlamoqchi, balkim ular bizni o'g'irlamoqchi yoki yana qanaqadir boshqacha niyatlari bor. Biz bilmaymiz, shuning uchun kichkinaligi biz har doim aytamiz, do not talk to anyone. Second, why did the wolf show the Red Riding Hood the yellow flowers? In my opinion, from my point of view, the wolf showed the Red Riding Hood the yellow flowers so that she will think that the wolf is a kind person. So, nimaga bo'ri shu qizchaga sariq gullarni ko'rsatdi? Chunki u gullarga qarayotganda u o'ylaydi, wolf yaxshi insonligini, mana shu bo'ri yaxshi insonligini chunki bu gullarga qaraganda Red Riding Hood o'ylashi mumkin bo'ri yaxshi insonligini, lekin aslida unaqa emas-ku. Third one, what good things did Red Riding Hood do in the story? So what good things she did? She I wasn't scared. She was very brave. Also, she screamed for help. She didn't run away. And she was always polite. And the last one, did she do anything wrong? What? Yes, she did something wrong, and she talked with the wolf. And also, when she talked with the wolf, she explained everything what she wanted to do. And in my opinion, this is something wrong. We shouldn't tell to everyone what we want to do. Our goals should be, our aims, whatever we want to achieve in this life should be taught only to ourselves or to our closest people, like family members. But we shouldn't tell everything to everyone. You know, I want to do this, I want to do that, in the future I want to do this. No, we shouldn't do like this, because one day people may use this information for their own benefit and disturb us from achieving our goals. So, nima bu yerda Red Riding Hood noto'g'ri qildi? Mening fikrimcha, Red Riding Hood hamma narsani bo'riga aytishi, bu mening fikrimcha noto'g'ri bo'ladi. Chunki biz odamlarga har bitta nima qilishimizni aytishimiz shart emas. Zero ular bizga xalaqit berishi mumkindir. Alright, so these were all my answers. Please answer to these questions on your own as well. And we move to, please answer to these questions on your own as well. Take 5 minutes break and answer. So now we move to our third exercise, and in this exercise we should describe our main characters. Hozir biz siz bilan 3-chi mashqimizga o'tamiz va bu mashqimiz so'z boyligiga urg'u beramiz va bu yerda biz mana shu 3 ta odamni tasvirlab berishimiz kerak. So the first one is Red Riding Hood, and we can say that she is polite, kind, brave and worried. Next, second, the wolf. Wolf is friendly, but he is also strange. And the third one is the grandmother. She is frightened and she is safe. So that's it for our reading part. Now we move to our speaking part. We described with you all the people. We move and now let's turn to exercise number 4, and here we have to match the word to the definitions. So to begin on a journey, it means set off. Sayohatni boshlash, bu set off. Next, to go out of sight. To go out of sight, bu ko'rinishdan yo'qolib qolish, bu degani disappear. This is disappear. Next one, to not remember. Of course, this is what? Forget. Next one, to do a high jump. If you remember, we said this is leap. And to shout loudly, it is what? Scream. So please learn these words and use them in your speaking as well. Now we move to the speaking part. So now we turn to our speaking part, and here we have got the dialogue. If you remember, we read the first dialogue. It was about the play, Ugly Duckling, and now they're discussing again, and now they're continuing to discuss this play. Now they continue to discuss this play. So again, let's read together. This was Alfie, if you remember, right? So, Miss Carey, where are we going to perform our play? On the stage in the school theater. Wow! Are we going to wear costumes? Oh yes! And we are going to have scenery and props too. Have we got scripts? We must learn our words. I've got 1 copy of the script. We need 10 copies. Script bu yozilgan so'zlar yoki scenariy. I can make copies, Miss Carey. We can help you. Here is the photocopier. Photocopier, what is this? This is the machine with the help of which we copy the things, okay? Printer. So put the script in here and press these buttons. Press, it means mashu tugmalarni bosing. Okay, we need 10 copies. 1, 0. It isn't working. Try again. Okay, 1, 0. Is it broken? Broken, it means singanmi. Did you press the start button? Press it now. Oh no, what's happening? Nima bo'lyapti? It's making too many copies. 110, 110. It's making 1010 copies. So he made a mistake. So if we retell it quickly, they were discussing the play, and they were discussing the scripts of the play, and they wanted. So they were again discussing the play, and they were discussing whether they are going to wear the costumes and other things. And also they said they need, also they said that they needed script. And only one girl had the script, and they wanted to have, and they needed 10 more copies. So they put this paper into the photocopier, but Alfie made some mistakes. And it stopped working first, they thought, but then it started making too many copies because he pressed 110, 110 twice. So this machine started making 1010 copies. See? So I retold it very quickly. Please retell it very quickly as well. Hozir men shu dialogni qisqacha gapirib berishga harakat qildim. Siz ham shuni qilishga harakat qiling. Shu bilan birga bizning 5-darsimiz tugadi. Bugungi darsimizda biz reading qildik va hikoyani o'qiyotganda yangi so'zlarni yodlab, uni gapirib berishga harakat qildik. Va shu bilan birgalikda biz ozgincha speaking ham qilishga urindik. Now you have your homework. Please do your homework. Now you have your homework on the screen. Please do your homework and see you later. Goodbye, everyone.